Before any other retailer, BBTS got and is shipping out Sergeant Slaughter. Before Amazon, before anybody else, Entertainment Earth, any online retailers, any small business retailers, BBTS got them first. Not really sure how, but they had it in stock. So I went ahead and ordered one. Cost me almost $40. This is a deluxe figure, and it was almost 40 bucks. It was like 38, I think, shipped from BBTS. So we're going to open it up. And of course, since the Valaverse Action Force fans like to constantly compare Action Force to G.I. Joe, there really is no comparison. They're two completely different lines, especially now. They like to make comparisons so much. We're going to compare both of these figures. They are the same deco of Sergeant Slaughter, but yeah, the new one, the Action Force versus the new G.I. Joe, we will see which looks better, which looks more accurate. And before I do that, I will say this Action Force version of Sergeant Slaughter is supposed to be post-retirement. This is an older version of Sergeant Slaughter, whereas the G.I. Joe version is a much younger, in his prime, cartoon era, 1980s style Sergeant Slaughter. So let's get these two Sergeant Slaughters cracked open. First off, the box art looks really good, even though it's windowless. As we all know, that sucks, but at least the artwork looks good on the G.I. Joe boxes, unlike the Marvel Legends series boxes. Let's get him cut open and unpacked. Yeah, I am going to try and save this. I will get around to it at some point, making a background with one of these windowless G.I. Joe boxes. Just pulled out here. Oh, and he's got the ammo, or not the ammo, but the equipment case here to go along with the figure. And typical of how we've seen these figures coming lately, no tape across the back. That's a new one. I prefer no tape across the back, as a matter of fact. Oh, come on. It's like double tied in there. Pitch that to the side. Hear all the boxes falling? Yeah. Wow. Immediately, this is a great looking figure. One of my favorites because A, I really like Sergeant Slaughter a lot, and B, they just did a good job on this figure. Things are not necessarily the loosest in the world. This butterfly joint on this side is seized. On this side, it is not. Let's see if we can get that. There we go. That popped it loose. It's still a little bit tight, but I don't feel like anything's going to break. The arms feel good. I believe, don't hold me to this, I believe this is a roadblock torso, at least. Not 100% sure about the rest of the body construction, but we get him lined up here. These legs lined up. Yeah. Regardless of the reuse of parts, this figure really does look good, especially the face. I think they did a really good job on the face, and we'll do a side-by-side comparison with this one and the Action Force, the Valaverse Action Force Sergeant Slaughter. Having Sergeant Slaughter for the period of time that Valaverse did was a really, really good selling point for their line. I read the comics, and I actually really enjoyed the comic where Sergeant Slaughter was a major character in play. Especially if you haven't read it, read it. It's a good read. Especially considering it's based in the future, a post-apocalyptic near future, and Sergeant Slaughter has retired and comes out of retirement for a special mission. And it's a cool story overall. And growing up, yes, I actually watched wrestling when Sergeant Slaughter was a prominent wrestler on TV, and thought it was just the coolest thing ever. that he became a G.I. Joe. Not just any G.I. Joe, but the G.I. Joe drill instructor that was meant to take those who were quote-unquote lesser, that they saw something in and whip them into shape. Man, they did a really good job on this. I really like this figure a lot, and I'm happy to have him in my collection. I'm impressed with it. Again, we'll take a good look at that face print. Overall, looks great. I don't see any obvious defects or anything in the figure either. A little bit of a mark right here on the forearm, just a little paint overspray or something, I think. Not really anything to necessarily complain about. So let's get him stood up back here out of the way so that we can open up his footlocker. Yeah, that's the word I was looking for earlier. Footlocker, not ammo crate or weapons case. It's a footlocker. Inside, you have the typical cardboard pieces with accessories folded into them. You have the paper bag, this little information sheet, and another accessory piece. I do not consider this to be a deluxe figure as it is priced. I don't like the fact that Hasbro's doing that. They are pricing what should be regular figures, regular release figures, as deluxe. And you would think of a deluxe figure as coming with very large or additional accessories. And even though he does come with some extra stuff, it's not really any more than what other G.I. Joe classified figures have come with. Hey, check the baton out here. We'll give a close-up of all the accessories in a second. He does have that drill instructor's whistle. Man, these are kind of painstaking to get out of there. Pain in the ass, more like it. The one accessory that they included that I'm most excited about is this one right here. Yes, it is a paper card back. The figure is removable. Check this out. The piece of the little paper cardboard card back slides out, and the figure is removable from the bubble. I'm not going to do that in this video, but I think that's really, really cool that they gave a Sergeant Slaughter figure a figure of his own. They gave him his own action figure. That is so cool. I love this. This little half-inch tall figure. That's so badass that they've done this. And this, to me, makes it worth the deluxe price. Hey, you know what? You get all kinds of extra stuff here. You get extra hands. That was a flashlight that I just threw on the floor. I'm going to get that before we go through the accessories. I was perhaps a little bit hasty in my assessment of this not really being a deluxe figure. This very highly detailed accessory definitely helps make it a deluxe figure. You have 1, 2, 3 extra sets of hands. I'm not a big fan of the extra hands, but considering it's a Sarge, I think that these are necessary. 3 extra sets of hands. You have the magazine for the AK-47. We'll look at that next. The AK-47 with paint apps. This is the same AK that comes with the Cobra Officer. You have Sergeant Slaughter's signature baton with the gold knob. You have his drill instructor's whistle, including paint apps. You have the aviator glasses. And you have his drill instructor's hat. It's a nice piece. It's pliable. And let's see how it fits. Oh, it's a great fit. It fits right on the figure's head. Perfect. It's not loose. It's not going to come off. It's just soft enough to be movable. And let's try this out. Let's try the glasses on his face. Yeah, you have the legs that fit over the ears and kind of hook around behind. These actually seem to stay on fairly well. You get the hat on top to seal the deal. As you can see, it kind of sets over enough to keep the glasses in place. Man, this is a fantastic looking figure. I cannot get over how well they did with this one. So yeah, as far as worth, it's definitely worth the deluxe figure price. Now the flashlight sets right here on the gas tube cover. Kind of a neat little accessory, I think. Let's get the magazine in there. How's it gonna go? Right like that. I believe it is keyed rock and lock in. Not unlike a real AK. If you've ever handled a real AK, you gotta rock and lock that mag. So extra hands. You see, this is pretty much it. This is what you get with the figure. I'm just kind of looking over everything. Not really like in awe, but it's definitely, they did a good job on it, and I'm happy as can be with it. Super happy to add this one to my collection, especially with that little 1/2-inch tall Sergeant Slaughter figure. They gave the action figure its own action figure, and I love that. I'm normally not one that cares much about extra hands, but with this figure in particular, the extra hands really do add a nice touch. You have the fists, you have the open grappling type hand, you have the pointing finger, and of course you have the accessory gripping hands here. We can actually try that out with his baton. See if we can get it locked in here. Yeah, there we go. Now it's time for some comparison. We have the Valaverse Action Force Sergeant Slaughter on the right and the Hasbro GiJoe Sergeant Slaughter on the left. As far as accessories go, the Valaverse figure comes with one additional hand than what the Hasbro figure comes with. He also has the launcher, and the extra weapon would be the revolver. He does come with the glasses, the hat, comes with web gear, some additional accessories for weapon storage here on the figure. The boots look very similar. This figure also comes with a figure stand and a backpack that includes storage, as well as the coat, the vest for the figure as well. And the vest would replace the web gear. I prefer the web gear on this Action Force figure, or to not have that at all. You also have the cover over here for Sergeant Slaughter. That's an extra accessory. So for the same price, these are relatively, you're going to knock out $40 a piece. This one's actually a couple dollars more. Shipping is $8. Shipping from BBTS was, I think, a flat $4. I think with a 32 plus tax. You're looking at $38 and $40 shipped, around about. I think maybe if you have one of these shipped by itself, it might actually go over 40 with tax and everything. But these two figures are relatively at the same price point. You do get more additional accessories with the Action Force figure. Now, a couple of problems I have with the Action Force figure is how high the hat sets on the head, and how you have to open it and fix this if you want to display in the box, because this hat, but it always comes back like this and makes him look like Boy George. I don't like it, but it's something that's fixable. You got the vest. You would take the web gear off and replace it with the vest. The backpack. Does the backpack fit this Sergeant Slaughter? It does. Yeah, it actually fits that Sergeant Slaughter. Between these two figures, what's going on here? You have the Hasbro Sergeant Slaughter is a much larger figure than the Valaverse Sergeant Slaughter. And you can see that the Hasbro Sergeant Slaughter is taller and bulkier than the Action Force Sergeant Slaughter. Now, as I said, the face of the Valaverse Sergeant Slaughter is actually, the whole head is a little bit smaller, but the face does look older, and this is supposed to be a retired character. This figure is the age of after he has retired. So it kind of makes sense that he would probably be a little bit smaller. There is a size difference between the two figures. It's not really a problem. They both look good. I after everything that I've seen, I would definitely want to heat this figure up before articulating the joints very much, just because I don't want to break them. I don't want to break any of my action figures. But I do like the fact that this figure comes with storage for its accessories on the figure. You have the backpack that will hold accessories. You have the holster. You have, let's see, is this made to hold anything over here? No, I don't think so. But, no, there's really not a lot of extra stuff for the figure to hold on its body. Whereas, with what they've been doing with the Hasbro G.I. Joe figures, they're not giving us that extra storage that they did early on. And it's been that way with a few figures now. And I hope that's not a continuing trend. The newer figures coming out, I hope that they are able to store all of their accessories on the figure, on a backpack, whatever, because it was a nice feature to have and you didn't end up with a bunch of loose accessories. Yes, I understand that you're not going to be able to stow extra hands on the figure, but like this AK, there needs to be a sling or something, and a sling can be something as easy or as simple as a black rubber band like this that can be used as a sling. These typically come with the Gridiron Studios accessory, the 3D printed accessory pack. Personally, my preference is always going to be toward G.I. Joe, but you know, I like this figure, and having Sergeant Slaughter and Steel Brigade is actually what drew me to the line. Those are the ones that I actually care about. Reading the comics that came out, I wish they would go ahead and release whatever else they have as a downloadable e-comic. That's the only way that I read comics, is online. I download them on the Kindle app and I read them. And I would like to finish reading the Action Force series, whatever out or whatever's they decide to do. A couple other things I'll point out about the Valaverse Action Force figure. Here's what the hat looks like on the Valaverse figure. It's kind of like a kid trying to wear his dad's hat. Doesn't quite fit. The head is bigger. I like the fact that Hasbro used a softer material that's more pliable and will fix to the figure's head a little better than what the Action Force version does. The Action Force version is very stiff and there's no pliability there for fitment. It just sets on and is easily knocked off. Another issue that I have with the Valaverse figure, and I may have shown this in a video before, don't recall if I made a video on this figure or not, but the glasses, the aviators. The major problem with the fact that these don't stay on the face for shit. I mean, they're just what you see. They don't hook around the ears. There's no track for them to go into, no channel. They don't really even set on the nose. They're difficult to put into place and get to stay. They're going to fall right off with little to no effort at all. These glasses, let's try the Hasbro glasses on the Valaverse figure. And they do kind of hook around the ears there and seem to set a little better. They grip the head better. Even on the smaller head, they grip it better than what the Action Force version, what these glasses do. So that's definitely something they did a better job with. And that's pretty much it in the comparison between these two figures. Thanks for tuning in to this latest unboxing of the Hasbro G.I. Joe Sergeant Slaughter figure and all of his wonderful accessories. As I've said before, the new windowless packaging, I'll be opening every single G.I. Joe figure they put out like that. And to be honest, I'm probably going to open the rest of these box figures as well and display them like this, because I've come to enjoy them a lot more like this than what I do in their boxes. That's not the same truth for carded figures, like the older 3.75 and 4-inch figures. But with these 6-inch classified figures, I am enjoying them so much more loose and out of the box. The same thing with some of the Marvel Legends figures and other 6-inch lines. I'm probably going to do that with the Action Force figures I have too. Just because I really like seeing the entirety of the figure displayed like this and hanging on a wall, much like what a toy store should look like. But anyway, that's just my personal preference. I'm sure that you all have your personal preferences that probably differ from mine. But anyway, here it is. Here you have him, the brand new Sergeant Slaughter figure. Be sure to check out the description for links, useful links, different things, Facebook groups, Amazon listings and whatnot. Like, subscribe, share, comment. Let me know what you think. And I'll see you guys soon. Yo, Joe!